Okay, welcome back. Let us continue building methods for our layers class. In this video, we're going to create a method called update layer. So the objective is basically to update the layer that we created from this method. We will be changing the color from red to yellow, and we will also be changing the line type from continuous to hidden. So let us start building our method. Let us call this as update layer. Our command method should be the same, update layer as well. So let us copy this over. It's just the same variable declaration that we need, and also the transaction, and of course the end of the transaction. Okay. Now I would like to introduce here again the try-catch block, because we will be changing the layer properties. So when you are doing some modification, it is always good practice to provide a try-catch block just in case you encounter some error. So at least you see what's the error message. So if there's an exception or there's an error, we'll just display to the user that error was encountered, and we display the message of the error, and then we abort the transaction. Okay. Next, we need to create a variable for our layer table, which means that we can just copy this one here, or I suggest you type it yourself so that you can be more accustomed to typing the code. So now that we have the variable for our layer table, we need to find the layer MISC, and once we find it, once we found the MISC layer, then we can change the properties. So to do that, we have to loop through the layer collection. So we will be using the for each LYID as object ID. This is the same thing that we've done for the list layer in ly tab. And then of course we need to create a variable for the layer table record. So dim lytr as layer table record. That would be equals to the transaction that get object, and our object ID would be the LYID, this one here, and then that would be open mode for reading. Alright. Now that we have the layer table record, we can now find the name based on this variable here. So if lytr.name equals MISC, then we'll change the MISC layer properties. So the color and line type. Else, So since we are doing a looping for all the layers in the table, in the layer table, so in our else statement, if it's not a layer misc, then we'll just basically just create an editor here and display to the user. Let's put the BB line feed first. And let's just skipping layer. This is just all about the user information, so at least the user knows what's happening while the program is running. And that's it. So now if we found the layer misc, what we need to do, so since we are doing the upgrade, so we have to upgrade that open. Upgrade open. Okay, and then now we can change the color, which we use the same thing for the color that from color index. And then the color method is by layer, and the color would be yellow, which is 2. Next, since we are also changing the line type, we need to get hold of the line type table. So to do that, same thing as the layer table, we can declare a variable to hold the line type. Let's call that as lt tab as line type table. That would be coming from the transaction object, and then get object, and then the object ID would be the database, then the line type table ID, and the open mode for read. Okay, so since we are interested in the hidden line type, we also need to validate the line type. So if lt tab that has hidden equals true, then we can now apply the new line type. So lytr dot line type object ID, that would be equal to lt tab hidden. Okay, so that's just basically it. Now we have to, of course, commit the transaction, and we can display a message to the user that the updating of layer is complete. So completed updating layer lytr.name. Basically, we're saying here that we're done completing the, we're done updating the layer name misc. Oops, spelling error here. Okay, so let's just do some cleanup here. Let's get rid of all these extra spaces. Okay, so now we have 3 methods. Let us save our code, and I'll have to close this AutoCAD first, otherwise it won't build our code. So let's do a rebuild. Okay, once succeeded, let me open up AutoCAD again very quickly. Okay, so let us load our plugin, netload. This is our plugin. So let's check the layer. There's no MISC layer. So before we execute our update layer command, we should create the layer first. So create layer. Nice. We should see the layer MISC here already. Okay. Now we are changing the color from red to yellow and the line type from continuous to hidden. Okay. So our command is called update layer. There you go. Let us see the messages. So skipping layer, then now that we found the MISC, we provided the message here, completed updating the layer MISC. Now let's check the layer if it completes the update. Nice. So the layer now is yellow and the line type is hidden. So our code worked. Alright. So there's one more thing that I forgot here. We can just add the exit for loop, because if let's say we have lots of layers, so all we need to find is the MISC. So once we found it, we apply this change of line type and color, then we commit, and then we exit the loop already. We don't need to continue looping through the layer, although it's very fast, but still we don't need to do extra processing for that. So that's about it for updating a layer. Just get hold of the layer table, and depending on which property you like to update, in our case here we have updated the line type, so we need to get the hold of the line type table as well. Okay, give this a try and see how it goes. I'll see you in the next video.